It's called Motocross. Born in Europe between the wars, a new motorsport. Tough men and fast motorcycles testing their mettle on natural terrain. Roger DeCoster, 5 times world champ, helped bring the sport to America in the 60s. In the 70s, DeCoster and his international counterparts taught the Americans painful lessons in how to go fast in the dirt. Mikola, Robert, Walsink, Janssen won all the races in America, but the local kids learned their lessons well. From upstate New York, the jammer, Jim Weiner, one of the first American stars. In Gary Semick's day, to finish as top American was a great honor. But by the days of Tony DeStefano and Jim Ellis, the national championship was the goal. And then came Bob Hurricane Hanna, America's first superstar, a brash young kid with little memory and no respect for his European elders. The motorcycles provide a measure of the evolution of the sport. The conventional forks of the 70s have given way to sophisticated upside-down suspension units. Air-cooled engines no longer in vogue. The modern-day power plant is liquid-cooled. And on the rear, the quaint old 3-inch travel spring shocks have given way to the modern monoshock with a full foot of travel. By the 80s, the tide had turned. Americans Brad Lackey and Danny Laporte won world championships. A new crop of stars like David Bailey were destined to dominate, not only in America, but around the world. Mark Barnett and the O Show, Johnny O'Mara, were products of a now thriving amateur sport in America. And by the time Rick Johnson and Jeff Ward developed their legendary rivalry, the message was clear. America owns motocross. It's AMA Motocross next on Speed World. Here in Gainsville, Florida, I'll bet the Chamber of Commerce would like us to believe the weather is like this every day of the year. Warm and sunny as thousands of fans flock into Gatorback Cycle Park for a red letter day in American motocross. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain. It's a red letter day on ESPN. We have a brand new series to cover and an old friend with whom to cover it. David Bailey is the 1983 National Motocross Champion. Don't I recall that you won the opening round right here at Gatorback? That makes you the expert. Tell me about this racetrack.
Well, I think one thing we're going to see is it's a lot faster than it's been in the past. They've opened up a few of the corners in the track from practice sessions. These guys are really flying out there. And the other thing is, this is Florida. Where's all the sand? They brought in a lot of clay and built a couple of huge jumps out there. That's going to be exciting for the fans.
The format for this game now, it's a little different from what the fans are accustomed to seeing on our Supercross coverage. How does it work?
Right. Well, unlike the indoor events, these guys have got to race 2 30-minute motos plus 2 laps. So the guys that are a little more fit are going to shine today.
Elaborate a little on physical conditioning. This is one of the toughest games in the world.
Well, the track today, unfortunately, for some of the riders that are banking on their physical condition to play a major role, I don't think they're going to get to see that because the track, like I said, is very fast and very hard-packed. But it's a long, hot day, and probably a few riders will fade. We'll have to wait and see.
The reigning national champion in this game is a guy named Mike Kudrowski. He's off to a slow start in Supercross, but hopes to defend his title against a host of contenders whom we're going to meet now as we bring in the man who will cover the pit action on ESPN, Art Ekman.
Dave, the contenders are many. Not only Mike Kudrowski, who so dominated this series last year, but also 3-time national outdoor champion Jeff Stanton, Mike LaRocco, and then the very, very competitive Jeremy McGrath, who won the 125cc event here last year in impressive style.
I've always ridden pretty good here. I mean, I like the hard pack, and and it's choppy. It's not really big bumps, and there's some fun jumps out there. But you know, last year I rode really good in 125, and I'm in the 250 class this year, and it's going to be a little bit tougher.
You know, this is where the bread and butter of motocross originates, is outdoor nationals. You know, that's where all the tough guys come from, Roger DeCosters and, you know, all the guys way before my era. You know, the promoters are making more money in supercrosses, and we're putting on a show for 50, 60, 70,000 people, but this is where it originated. This is where the sport started.
It's a long series this year. There's 12 races, so that's going to be a big difference. And, you know, just my main goal here is to win that Gatorback, and I've won a lot of races here, and I'm going to go here and do the best I can and go out there and give those guys a run for their money.
You throw in several other outdoor specialists and the always exciting and fan-pleasing Guy Cooper. Dave, we're set for some exciting action here today. Back to you.
Cowboys fans.
Breaks away to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Emmett Smith.
Sports Illustrated gives you all the thrills of a second straight super season.
Back, man. Cowboys back to back in the half.
In this sensational new video, Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl champions. It's free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated, the magazine that gets you into sports like no one else. Call this number now and be with the boys at every game on their amazing journey to another Super Bowl.
Hands over the middle. Urban's wide open at the 30.
Keep doing it until we get to the ladder.
Keep your hand in the ball game. Let's go.
We'll share the heartbreak,
Leon Lett. Oh, my goodness. Great.
the headaches,
And Aikman is woozy, walking around holding his head.
and the happiness.
I love you.
You'll hear the talk,
If you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
and you'll walk the walk. Call now and enjoy the season with Troy, Michael, and Emmett.
Oh, what a run.
With Nate, Norton, and the Moose.
Touchdown, Moose.
Get the team of your dreams and have the time of your life with the Super Boys, free from Sports Illustrated. Plus, you'll also receive this special commemorative issue, free with your paid subscription. Sports Illustrated captures the excitement of the Cowboys' success in a championship style you'll enjoy forever. Get your free collector's issue and video, plus 54 issues of Sports Illustrated, including the swimsuit issue for only $1.39 an issue. Save over 52% off the cover price. For quicker delivery, use your credit card.
Turn over the touchdowns. We take it on to the house.
With your free Cowboys video and commemorative issue, you'll capture all the thrills of the past year.
James Washington. Touchdown, Cowboys.
With Sports Illustrated, you'll enjoy the great moments yet to come.
Can they have a three-peat?
There is no team like the Dallas Cowboys. And there is nothing in the world like Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
We're back at Gainesville. Things are cooking at the barbecue pit, and they are about to heat up out here on the racetrack. Shane Nally, mechanic for Mike Kudrowski, the reigning national champion, making last-minute preparations on that motorcycle. We're just about set for the first moto. Here's how the track lays out. See the big sweeping first turn, the twists and turns, and Art Ekman has the story of the surface and the elevation changes.
There are several challenging features to this Gatorback Park track. One is the beautiful weather and the sandy-like soil. The tires will be searching for some kind of grip because once that sand is blown off, which happens very rapidly, you find it very hard-packed, almost bluish in color. It's like going over cement or landing on rocks. Then the most challenging characteristic, of course, the drastic elevation changes that the riders have to face.
We used to hit at the bottom of the jumps, then ride up the hill and jump off the top. Now they've changed the track around where we can jump from the base all the way up to the top. So the elevation change is flying a long ways. It's a lot different than the track's been in the past years.
Mentally, it takes a lot more than it does at a supercross, I believe. And the races are a lot longer, you know, mentally and physically. The heat and humidity, and as rough as this place gets, it's probably one of the most demanding tracks that there is to race on.
I just had to ride a qualifier, and most of it's like cement right now. It's dry and it's hard and it's going to be dusty. It's a little choppy, but I don't think it's going to get real rough. A lot of small bumps, but no big ones, and it's just going to be real dry and hard out there.
And with that, the bikes are at the gate, and we're just about set for a start. And this is the busiest guy at Bike Week at Daytona this week, David.
Guy Cooper is just getting a little bit stretched out here before the moto gets underway. I don't think he's going to factor into the overall here today. He's just out there to have a good time and put on a show for the fans.
He's supposed to be semi-retired. Cooper's going to ride 5 events in the next week. We're ready for the start of the first national of the year. The gate is down. The charge is on to turn number 1. There you see all that dust. A big swoop around the outside, and looky here, it's going to be Brian Swink, number 10, who's got a wheel out in front. Now Kedrowski comes back strong. Mike Kedrowski showing us why he's the national champion.
As they drop down into the gator pit here, Brian Swink is all over the back of Mike Kedrowski. Look how aggressive these guys are attacking this track.
It's a long race, and yet they're obviously going for it hard on the first lap. Oh, Kedrowski all the way out into that dirt bank. Back end swapped a little bit. Was he as close to crashing as it appeared there?
It was a little bit sketchy there, and then if it wouldn't have been for Brian Swink not following too closely, he might have taken him down with him. And Swink all over the back of him, like I said, and took advantage of that mishap by Kedrowski.
Swink takes the lead. The teammates Kedrowski and Larocco side by side for second. Here's number 2, Jeremy McGrath, who won in the 125 class here a year ago. He's a big boy now. He's riding the 250. Swink out front, fast and hard. And there is number 34. That's Jimmy Button, over 6 feet tall. He's in there challenging. In fact, he's around Kedrowski, and that's a little bit of a surprise to me.
Well, he looks pretty comfortable on this 250. He's a long, tall, lanky guy, and he's been riding the 125 indoors, and this 250 seems to suit him well. Now here's another look at the mistake by Kedrowski in the beginning, almost taking the front wheel of Brian Swink. He was lucky to get out of that.
All right, the national champion with a big moment on the first lap. Here's Mike Larocco playing catch-up. There is Button, and behind them Kedrowski. That is second, third, and fourth, as the leader, Brian Swink, continues to maintain the pace here. And Kedrowski having fallen back into the pack. I wonder if he's shaking himself up a little bit with that big moment.
Well, that usually gets your heart pumping a little bit. It's a long race. He's probably going to play it smart here a little bit, see what Jimmy Button's all about. He hasn't raced with him all year long, so he's going to settle in and try to get comfortable out there and then start putting on a charge.
It is the first race of the brand new season, and the first lap is complete here at Gainesville. We'll be back with more of the action right after this timeout.
It's hard to describe the feeling when your son becomes your partner.
You started me off in the mailroom.
You needed that. When he talked about upgrading to a high-tech electric drying system, well...
Reduced emissions, lower production costs.
New advancements in electro-technologies are enabling us all to use energy more efficiently. It's part of Conservision, Virginia Power's commitment to improve the world we live in.
But then I realized ideas like that are exactly what I was hoping for.
Action Pay-Per-View is adrenaline on demand. Every time you rent a movie on Action Pay-Per-View, you'll be automatically entered in the Action Adventure Sweepstakes. Win your choice of 3 Caribbean vacations. Live it up on a luxury liner, set sail on a windjammer, or sunbathe on the shores of Trinidad and Tobago, home of Carnival 94. Get in on the action, pick up the phone, rent a movie, and win. Enter the Action Adventure Sweepstakes. What are you waiting for?
Jim Rome's Glossary Primer, number 7, the bricks.
Yeah, massive. If you follow the hoop, definitely you will know who the bricks are. Now, if you take a shot, a ragamuffin shot, and all you hit is air, that's called a brick. It just happened to be this season no team threw more bricks than the bricks. And for those of you who don't have a clue, here's a hint. New York bricks.
Watch Rome, speak Rome, talk too. Phone in sports talk with a language all its own. Monday through Friday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
We're back at Gainesville, Gatorback Cycle Park. Number 10, Brian Swink out front over Mike Larocco. And the surprise of this first race of the year, number 34, Jimmy Button. Nice mix of brands there with a couple of Suzuki sandwiching the Kawasaki. Be honest now, are you surprised to see Button in there passing Mike Larocco?
Well, he is definitely taking a look at the lead here. He made a big mistake right back there in that sweeper. It just shows when you're pushing yourself this hard, the kind of mistakes you're going to make.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to get my friend Bailey pinned down on the question of whether that's a surprise or not, but we are going to get to take another look at what was a big moment for number 34.
Well, it's hard to say if Button's riding over his head here or not, but he just made a huge mistake right there. He's lucky to hang on to it.
Mike bounced out of one berm into the other, and now Larocco's going to take advantage of him and come back on the inside. This is for second spot, and he doesn't get around him. Button's holding his own very effectively against the more experienced Mike Larocco.
Now what Button needs to do here is just keep his cool. He's coming off the 125 onto the bigger 250 bikes, and he's out there with the best in the country. So he's just going to have to keep his cool here and not let LaRocco bother him.
And LaRocco certainly is going to try to bother him, though, isn't he? Because LaRocco knows he's got an inexperienced guy in front of him. He's going to get up there and try to pressure a mistake, isn't he?
Well, we're as surprised as we are to see Button up there. I'm sure LaRocco is, too. So he's going to just watch what he's doing, see if he's got any faster lines, pick up on him, and try to make a pass and go after Swink.
I don't see any signs that Button number 34 is letting that earlier mistake get to him. He's riding good lines, and he's doing very well against a man generally acknowledged to be one of the fastest on a 250. Mike LaRocco looking to the inside line. Button leaves it wide open on the bottom. Oh, and LaRocco says, "I'll take that, thank you very much." Jimmy left the door open, and it didn't take LaRocco long to capitalize there.
Well, he left him a lot of room, and I have to wonder if maybe he's feeling the heat from Mike. He's probably just going to want to check out what Mike's doing and settle into a more comfortable pace. I mean, you got to remember, this guy's coming from the 125 class, and these guys are running a fast pace.
Worth elaborating a bit on that. The man on the yellow motorcycle, the Suzuki, the veteran of the 125 division, and that's where these young factory riders pay their dues. Once they master the 125, they move up to the 250. The same is true of number 10, Brian Swink. He's a former Eastern Region 125 Supercross champion. And here is Mike Kudrowski. He is the reigning champ in this division, the 250 national class, and he's taking it pretty conservative the first few laps.
Well, he made a big mistake in the very beginning, and he's looking to just try to settle into this pace. You know, you got to remember it's 30 minutes long. He knows that. He's been out there. He's holding the #1 plate. He obviously knows what he's doing out there.
He's not going to let his teammate, I wouldn't think, get too far away, though. Mike LaRocco has terrific speed, and Mike Kudrowski knows that. So as the two motocross Mikes on the green bikes look at the Suzukis that are sandwiched in between them, we'll see when Kudrowski will elect to turn up the tap and make his charge. Button solidly in that third spot and making the transition to the 250 very effectively. Now, actually, he rides two different classes. He still rides the 125 in the stadium races, but outdoors, he's on the bigger bike now, and I expect he's pleased with that. At 6 foot, what is he, 6'2". He needs a bigger motorcycle underneath him.
Well, I know he feels more comfortable on this bigger bike, and he's probably just really happy to be running up front with these guys. Good experience for him, and it's just going to complement the 125 when he gets back on it.
Here comes the pressure now as Kudrowski moves in to try to do what LaRocco did a couple of laps ago, and that is force Button into a mistake. Jimmy left the door open for Kudrowski, and wasn't that right here in this same section of the racetrack? Let's see if he'll do it again. Button likes the high line. Kudrowski takes the bottom, and that looked like a carbon copy, didn't it?
Sure did. I don't know if Button was just not using his head there, or if he just wants to let Kudrowski get by and settle into a solid 4th place here where he can relax and start riding the pace he's more comfortable with.
On consecutive laps at the same point on the racetrack, Jimmy Button left the door open both times. Kawasaki factory team riders squirted through, so Button is now 4th. Here is your leader. That's Brian Swink. His mechanic is Paul Steinbrecher, and he's standing by down in the mechanic signaling area with Art Ekman.
Paul, not very much time. Does he have the endurance left in him?
Oh, I think after this long, he's got to have it.
Optimism in the Suzuki camp. Swink has yet to prove his staying power against the likes of the national champ Kudrowski, now up to 3rd and still with some catching up to do. What a remarkable career this kid has had. He won the 125 championship twice, jumped into the 500 class, took that title, then came back last year to make it a sweep of the outdoor nationals with the 250 crown. I mean, he's a motocross championship machine out there. His tuner through all those titles is Shane Nally. Art Ekman's going to catch up with him.
Shane Nally, Mike Kudrowski's mechanic. He's got a lot of time to make up in this race, but he's in good position points-wise.
Yeah, he looked like he made a mistake on the last lap and lost about 3 seconds, but looks like Swink's slowing the pace down a little bit, so we should be in there before the end.
Well, indeed, Swink has slowed the pace a little bit, and as a result, look at the interval. LaRocco is rapidly reeling in the leader, and not far behind comes Kudrowski, and I got a feeling that Brian's going to be surrounded by green machines here before long. Meanwhile, 5th and 6th is a pretty good battle. Number 32 is Doug Dubach, Dr. Doug Dubach, they call him, and number 12 is Cliff Palmer, and these guys are having at it like there was no tomorrow.
Well, these guys have to be happy with their position right now. I mean, where the heck is Team Honda? You got McGrath and Stanton still back there behind him, nowhere in sight.
Well, you called that. McGrath is 7th and Jeff Stanton is 8th. And if there's a surprise today, it's probably that. Swink now under pressure from LaRocco. What's LaRocco got to do to win?
Well, if LaRocco looks to win this race, he's got to get up closer to Swink and push him into a mistake. Swink isn't going to feel threatened at all by the cushion that he still has.
Steinbrecher sweats. LaRocco closes, and we'll be back for the finish. Back in Gainesville, time is running out in this 30-minute plus 2-lap first moto of the Outdoor National 250 Championship. There's Mike LaRocco Sr. That is Mike LaRocco's father and tuner and mechanic, and he is watching with great interest the stopwatch as LaRocco closes in, what, for the kill, David?
Well, LaRocco's close enough to get roosted by Swink now, so I'm pretty sure he can put the watch down.
Well, you don't need a stopwatch to measure the interval, but I am curious about the lap times. It appears Swink has slowed and LaRocco has closed in. The question is, where does he make the move and when does he make the move?
Well, he's been following him this whole race, and I think he's just probably either doesn't have the speed to make a pass or he's just waiting till the last minute.
Well, either way, the strategies and the gambles are going to play out in the next couple of seconds, and you can hear the crowd in the background. A lot of Brian Swink's supporters here. He is from Florida, grew up on these kinds of racetracks, and boy, he's got his hands full now with LaRocco.
Well, this is the kind of pressure I talked about earlier, and now you can see Brian's riding a little shaky because of it.
Brian Swink trying desperately to hang on. He doesn't have a great reputation for going 30 minutes outdoors. They will take the white flag. 1 lap to go. And here's Mike Sr. Let's see if we can read the pit board. Make a move. Do it now. Get it done. You're out of time. LaRocco looks a little worried as he waits for his son to come down. The interval is measured in bike lengths rather than seconds. Let's go down there to Art Ekman.
Mike LaRocco Sr. putting on his pit board. Make your move right now. And Mike, how's he doing as far as pace concerned? Swink looks like he's slowing down a bit.
Yeah, Brian's slowing down a little bit. Mike's running the same pace. I think it's time now to get by him and let's get out ahead.
And Mike hasn't made mistakes. He's right there.
He's right there. You'll get him this lap.
Obviously, Mike Sr. feeling very confident, and I think with good reason. You talk about pressure. Swink's not been in this position before. He's not won a national moto in the 250 class. LaRocco, of course, is a veteran with a lot of speed, and here he comes.
Well, he left the door wide open right there, and he's going to go wide here again. He shouldn't have done that. LaRocco up the inside almost makes a move.
But LaRocco couldn't get around him. Twice it appeared Swink left the door open. Actually, the first time led to the second time, but LaRocco couldn't capitalize. Is there another place on this racetrack where he'll be able to get around him?
Well, nothing makes a person more productive than the last minute, and that's the last chance he's got to do it.
Here comes Brian Swink, number 10, trying to hold off Mike LaRocco. He may have taken LaRocco's best shot right there. LaRocco dove down to the inside, railed around the berm. The front wheel bounced out of the berm, and it cost him just enough momentum that he couldn't complete the pass.
Well, a nice gesture there by a lapped rider, not wanting to interfere with a battle that's been shaping up for 30 minutes. Swink's got one more huge double right here. He clears it, and I don't think LaRocco's going to get another opportunity.
Mike LaRocco certainly had his shot. Brian Swink left a big opening on the bottom, but LaRocco couldn't quite get through the gap, and now he appears to be losing ground. Has he given up? Does he know that was his only shot?
Well, there's definitely nowhere else to pass. Right here, he's just got to stay as close as he can and hope Swink makes a big mistake.
Brian Swink has survived thus far without mistakes. He hasn't wilted in the Florida sun, as some predicted he might. He's taken the pressure from the Kawasaki team, and now he is just a couple of corners from victory. And listen to the fans cheering him on. It's a big moment to see a Florida boy do well on the national trail. Here comes LaRocco back at him for a final time, hoping perhaps that there's one more opportunity waiting there somewhere. But Swink has not made that mistake in this last half lap, and now he's headed for home. Up and over the finish line jump, and he's done it. Brian Swink wins the opening moto of the 1994 season. Cause for celebration in the Suzuki camp. They've been taking their lumps indoors, but they've done well here today. And here is Mike Kudrowski, a third-place finish. What do you think? Disappointing?
Well, he's probably disappointed because his shot at an overall now looks slim. However, he probably saved quite a bit of energy, and he'll be fresh for that second moto.
The victory celebration begins as the checkered flag falls. Let's go to Art Ekman with the moto winner, Brian Swink.
Brian, what a great battle. You had LaRocco putting the pressure on you all the way. You've seen what kind of pressure he can put on McGrath in Supercross.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've been known to be a weak rider, not very strong, but, you know, it's a hot national. It's kind of rough, and, you know, I think out there I kind of proved that I was pretty strong. I got a little arm pump middle way through, and then I picked it back up, so, you know, I'm happy I could be.
A clean start helps, but then you got lappers when you're out there in front, too.
Yeah, we came into a group of lappers. There was probably 10 of them, and they were all pretty good. I got by them all. There was just one jump I didn't do, and I had a little lead on him. He got back up to me, but Mike rode a great race, you know. I just got out front and got away from him like usually happens to me in Supercross.
Swink, a man who felt he had something to prove here today, beats Mike LaRocco, Mike Kudrowski, Jeremy McGrath, and John Dowd. Rounding out the top 10, Dubach, Button, Stanton, Antonez, and Brooks. Let's hear from Mike LaRocco.
What a pressure-packed race in this heat for the first race of the season in the Outdoor Nationals.
Yeah, it was. You know, I got off to a decent start, and I just had to deal with my teammate Mike Kudrowski, which I passed early, and Brian Swink, he was riding a real good race, and, you know, I followed him around a lot, tried to get him right on the last few laps, but he rode a good race.
It looked like in the early going, you pretty well paced yourself to time to make a move later.
Yeah, I did. You know, I wasn't sure how good a shape Brian was in, and, you know, the lines he was taking. I knew I had some better ones, but come to the end of the race, you know, he held tough, and, you know, he started taking my line, so it made it a little tougher for me.
You going to change anything now for that second moto?
Just to get out front and, you know, hopefully do the same thing Brian did.
Meanwhile, Kudrowski, the national champion, launches his title defense with a third-place moto finish. Let's see if he's smiling.
Some kind of first moto for everybody. That was a pretty fast pace for such conditions out there, Mike Kudrowski.
Yeah, I got off to a good start. I hole shot it, and then up here on the hill, I kind of got a little squirrely and couldn't do the plateau, and Brian got by me, and I kind of slowed down my first lap speed, and then I kind of went back to about third, and then I was riding right with him, and then I fell in one of the ruts, so then I just had to ride the whole race by myself.
Nice thing about this format, you got a whole new moto coming up.
Yeah, that's one good thing. I'm glad we didn't go the one more format, so I'll be out there in the second moto.
Indeed, there was talk of a Supercross-style format with just one moto for the Nationals this year. Didn't happen, and we'll have the second moto right after this. Welcome back to Gatorback Cycle Park. Dave Despain and David Bailey with Outdoor National Motocross action, and Brian Swink leads the first moto all the way. Are you surprised?
Well, a little bit. I've seen him lead some Supercrosses so far this year, but he makes mistakes, and I don't think anyone ever really considered him a real contender for the whole moto, let alone a 30-minute moto, and he handled the charge of LaRocco quite well. Second moto, I think if LaRocco can get up there and push him like that, I don't know if he's got the confidence to hold him off. LaRocco's 500 national champion now. Let's not forget Jeremy McGrath, who came from a terrible start all the way up to 4th place at the end. And, you know, this guy's proven his speed so far this year. And lastly, I think Mike Kudrowski. He's carrying the #1 plate, and he's got a lot to prove out there.
Time for that second moto. Let's go down to the starting gate. Get at it. Field coming set. Gate is down. Second moto is underway. And on the charge, the break into turn number 1. Let's look for Brian Swink. Nah, he didn't get that great start this time. Jimmy Button is there. 31 is Larry Brooks with a good start. There's number 16, John Dowd, the top independent rider, the top privateer in the series last year, gets a hole shot. Boy, there's a huge opportunity.
Well, he doesn't like to get the hole shot. It says it makes him nervous. Well, he's got a bunch of guys breathing down his tailpipe right now, and we'll see what he can do with it.
Moving up the challenge is number 31. That is Larry Brooks. Again, not a full factory-sponsored effort. That is the No Lean Yamaha. And the first full factory bike in the field is the third-place man. Look at this, Brian Swink up to third. All right, setting up for the downhill. Here's a move by Larry Brooks. Number 31's got the inside line. Let's see if Dowd can hold him off. On paper, it looks, oh yeah, a little bobble right there for Brooks, and he wasn't able to capitalize. Couldn't get to the bottom of the racetrack, and Dowd's going to be able to maintain that lead. Great run for the independent rider. Swink, meanwhile, closing in. I think he'd like to make an early kill and put these two guys between himself and his title rivals. There's the move by Swink, and a great move it was. Is he going to pull it off? Yeah. He gambled on that one, didn't he?
Well, he just scored it right by him and had the inside into the corner and controlled the turn. So now what's going to happen is he's got 2 privateers behind him that aren't capable of running the pace that Swink can run.
David, let's take another look at that move from third to first for Brian Swink.
Well, Brian just dives under both these guys, has a smoother run up the jump, is able to keep it wide open, and he controls the inside of this next corner.
And with position, he gains the lead, but behind him, there's a dogfight going on. Number 34, Jimmy Button, comes up alongside John Dowd. This is for third and fourth, and let's see who's going to come out with the advantage. Again, track position, inside line, made it pay off. Jimmy Button moves up a spot. There's number 5. That's Jeff Stanton. What was he, 7th, I think? He is the 3-time champion in this division, but as David pointed out, Team Honda's not having a great day here. Swink back in front, looking like he did in the first moto. If there was any question of his stamina and durability, I think he's pretty well answered it here today.
Well, it looks good for Brian right now. The only riders that were able to match the speed that he did in the first moto were the Team Kawasaki riders, Mike Kudrowski and LaRocco, and they're nowhere in sight. So he's going to take this opportunity to try to get away from those guys.
Dowd, number 16, is backing up. He's lost a position to number 21, Jeff Matasevich. There's 26, Todd DeHoop. And finally, we see a glimpse of Mike LaRocco, number 7. He was 8th through your shot, and that means the man who challenged for the first moto wins got a lot of catching up to do. Button, with another good charge, has picked up another position. He's into third. Matasevich hot on his heels. Great opening round of 1994 for Jimmy Button. He's going to be pleased with this.
Well, LaRocco's not as far out of the picture as I thought. This guy is notorious for getting horrible starts, and he's got a lot more time to make up for it here on this outdoor race than he does in a Supercross.
Let's see how they move through this uphill section with Matasevich showing the way. He's about 4 to 5 bike lengths behind Button, and Dowd doesn't seem to be able to maintain the pace. I think John's going to be going backwards here if the early laps are any indication. You got just a glimpse of LaRocco there, but he needs to make a charge early. He didn't want to sit back there and eat dust too long, does he?
Hopefully he learned his lesson from the first moto. If he wants to win this race and especially go after the overall, he's going to have to put on a charge right now.
Jeremy McGrath, winner of the 125 class here a year ago, dominant this year in Supercross, not much of a player in the opening outdoor round of 1994. Brian Swink trying for his first career 250 national win leads. We'll be right back. We're back in Gainesville, Florida, where Brian Swink, whose previous reputation was based on his Fu Manchu mustache and his Yul Brynner haircut, today is impressing them with his work on the racetrack. He leads a terrific scrap for second and third. Larry Brooks now under pressure from Jimmy Button, who's having the finest ride of his career. Brooks up and over the jump, now looking down at his motorcycle. That's never a good sign. He appears to still be at speed, but I think there may be a problem developing for Larry Brooks. Any way to speculate at this point what it might be, David?
Well, it's hard to see, really. I mean, he's looking down the left side there. It could be something to do with his foot peg or shift lever is all I can figure.
And seeing an opportunity, number 21 closing in, Jeff Matasevich. He knows he's got a wounded warrior in front of him, and here's a possible opportunity not only to get around Brooks, but also Button in the process. Brooks appears to be maintaining his speed. I think he's got a problem, but so far it hasn't translated into a position for Jimmy Button. Button going all the way to the outside of the racetrack, trying to set up what he hopes will be a pass. And Brooks comes down on the low line. There's the move. Is he going to get around? No, Brooks holds him off. I don't know. Maybe that motorcycle's healthy after all. He seems to be holding his own for now.
Well, Brooks is a busy guy. He's got a lot of experience on how to hold people off. Ever since I can remember, this guy's been an established star, starting way back on the mini bikes.
And he rides everything out there. He rides outdoors. He rides Supercross. He rides the Mickey Thompson series. Plus, he finds time to raise his 2 children. He's the father of twins. But right now, he's got his hands full with Button, who's definitely inspired by what happened in that first moto, and he's charging to the second. Swink opens up the interval. You see how the gap shapes up. Back to Brooks, who's desperately trying to cling to second spot. Swink remains very impressive here today.
Well, what he's got going on back here behind him is a cluster of guys that are really going to only be as fast as their weakest link. They're all battling each other, trying to hold each other off, and in the process, they're slowing down the pace, which is letting Swink get away.
The big loser in that exchange, number 34, Jimmy Button, who's gone from a close third to now a rather distant fifth as they work their way up toward a wide-open fourth gear double jump in a big pack of 4. Matasevich setting his sights on Brooks. Whoa, up and over, and a great pass, and Button crashed. In the same jump, Jimmy Button bails off hard. Looking back over his shoulder to check the traffic. He's going to see if there's enough left of that Suzuki to try to get it back on the racetrack. Man, when you're going that fast, that's got to hurt.
Well, these guys are fourth gear wide open to clear up to the top of that hill, and he's really lucky to get away from that thing unhurt. You can see his clutch lever there is bent way down, and it looks like his bars also.
while Button wonders if his motorcycle will be able to continue. Let's take another look at this.
Well, you can see Jimmy Button and John Dowd right there, handlebar to handlebar. That's not a safe way to approach a double jump in 4th gear. Matasevich leaving himself plenty of room, but Button paying the price of very costly error right there.
Well, he took a pretty good shot to the head there. He seems to be okay. The question is whether the motorcycle is going to be capable of continuing. Now we finally see Mike LaRocco. Mike has moved up into 5th spot, and he's got 4th, 3rd, and 2nd right in front of him. So this is a great opportunity for LaRocco to cut through some traffic and pick up a lot of points. He's got Brooks with a good inside move.
He's also got Stanton coming up behind him, too, so you can bet he's glancing over his shoulder, keeping tabs on Jeff.
Brooks trying to retaliate there. There you saw the number 5 Honda, the 3-time national champion, Jeff Stanton, who's had a bit of an up-and-down season in Supercross and was hoping for something special in the outdoor campaign. Hadn't happened yet today. Meanwhile, things don't look good for Jimmy Button. Let's go to Art Ekman for a report.
Jimmy, most important, how are you?
I'm all right, just a little sore. I hit neutral going up the big double in the back and went nose first right to the face of it, and I just flipped over the bars. I'm all right. Pride a little hurt, but other than that...
especially the pride, because you had such a good race going for you.
Yeah, I got a good start. I got a good start in the first moto. And, you know, no one's really up there. Kudrowski and those guys aren't up there quite yet, so it was looking pretty good for me, and I had just passed Val back, so I was right on kicking, and then I just hit neutral going up the jump and came up probably about 10 foot short, and the bars are too bent to even go out there and ride, and by the time I got up, I was out of the top 20, so no reason to go out there and, you know, maybe take a chance to get hurt again. But I put in a good ride first moto. Maybe everyone will notice that.
Well, we certainly noticed it. You got to sympathize with Jimmy Button, who had a great thing going here today. Now, number 31, Brooks, has fallen into the clutches of Jeff Stanton. Stanton, the 3-time champ, on the move here. This is for 5th spot. And after a rather lackluster 8th in the first moto, Jeff Stanton is trying to get a charge going here. He knows he's going to need a lot more than 8th or even 5th place points to claim a 4th 250 national championship. Meanwhile, Brooks continues to be the subject of some speculation. I'm not sure that motorcycle. Yeah, he's looking down. What is it, the shift lever maybe that he's playing with? Let's go to Art Ekman.
All right, Toad, your man Brooks was in 2nd place there for a while. It appears it's a mechanical sort.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it does. But that's motorsport, mechanical.
You just told him to hang on and finish.
Yeah, hang on and finish. Yeah, making points. Very important.
Brooks continues to struggle with his machine. Meanwhile, Mike Kudrowski struggles along in 6th spot, and that's just 1 behind Jeff Stanton. Some big names aren't having a big day here.
Well, an 8th place in the first moto for Jeff Stanton is that's got to be disappointing, and here he is in 5th. The Supercross is starting to slip away from him, and if he wants to salvage something out of the year, he's going to have to get it together in this 250 series.
We'll be back with more in a moment. We're back at Gainesville, where Brian Swink continues to lead the 2nd moto of this AMA National Championship Motocross season opener, but he's got number 21, Jeff Matasevich, all over him. I'll say this, Swink's had pressure all day, and it's always been somebody new.
Well, you can see now Swink's just out there for a trail ride. This guy is either really tired or he's having some kind of problems with the bike. I have to think he's getting tired after that hard charge in the first moto.
Matasevich has taken his lines away from him and crowds him off the racetrack, and it looked like there was plenty of room to work with there. There's some bad blood between these two, eh?
Well, possibly. Matasevich is coming from the Suzuki team. There's another bump by Swink. And he spoke openly about not being happy with the bikes and probably would like to add a little insult.
Well, that was certainly looking like insult and elbows as he went over there and took Swink off the racetrack. Swink immediately retaliated. Look what's happening as those two play games with each other. John Dowd, who's much more focused on the business at hand, has closed up to 3rd and is trying to make a move. Brian Swink seems to have gathered himself back up again after that initial contact with Matasevich. Jeff should have taken the pass and run with it. Instead, he had to make a show out of it, and now he's back in 2nd spot.
Well, now what you're going to see is it's the survival of the fittest. It's down to the wire. These guys have been out there for almost an hour and 10 minutes. They're getting tired. They're all four clumped together, and the guy that can make the fewest mistakes probably going to come out ahead here.
Mike LaRocco back there in fourth spot watches this trio work up the hill. Here's another move by Matasevic. He's got the inside line going into the corner. Let's see if he'll make the kill, and this time let it go at that. Yes, he does. A good clean pass by a couple of bike lengths. He's put Brian Swink behind him. Swink trying to retaliate, and does. And a great move by Brian Swink. He got some energy. He heard you say he was tired, and it got him all pumped up.
Well, I keep thinking this guy's tired, and he keeps coming back. I mean, maybe he doesn't feel as threatened by Matasevic as he would by LaRocco, but I think he's going to see LaRocco in a minute.
I think they're all going to see LaRocco in a minute as they go handlebar to handlebar and side by side. A great race between the former teammates, Jeff Matasevic and Brian Swink. And Matasevic, who has a reputation for these trackside altercations, gets into another one with Swink, and now Swink is under attack from John Dowd, who's alongside trying to make the move into second, and he's got it. John Dowd, once a winner in his national career, is just a bike length short of the lead. He's got to be pretty motivated by the opportunity this late in the moto to still have a chance to win it.
Well, John has put most of the emphasis in the 250 National Series. He elected not to ride the indoors, and appears as though he's in pretty good shape, but now he's got company from LaRocco.
LaRocco has passed Swink. Swink, indeed, has started to fade. I think he was already in trouble, and then when Matasevic got up there and ran him off the racetrack, it got him mad, and that adrenaline kept him around for another lap. But indeed, Swink is fading. LaRocco is charging. Dowd is the next man in his sights. Whatever happens here today, you've got to be impressed with these independent riders, semi-factory teams in some cases, the so-called support riders, because they're just having a terrific day against the full-on salaried factory guns.
Well, it's pretty tough for Matasevic. This guy's been a factory Kawasaki rider, a factory Suzuki rider. Now he's doing it on his own. He's pulling money out of his pocket to go racing, so he must really love the sport to do that.
Great move there by LaRocco. He saw the opportunity over the double, took advantage of Dowd. LaRocco has come from, what, 7th to run 2nd, with just one man left between him and maximum national championship points. That man is Jeff Matasevic, another guy who's not known for his staying power on the outdoor circuits, although give him this, aside from the little unnecessary altercation with Brian Swink, he's ridden a great race here today.
Well, one thing that Chicken has in his favor now is the fact that Mike LaRocco already has the overall wrapped up, so he doesn't have to make this pass. Maybe Jeff knows that, maybe not, but he's definitely going to pull out all the stops here and try to take this one all the way to the checkered flag.
Meanwhile, John Dowd solid and challenging in third. Let's go to Art Ekman.
Brian, your man Dowd has been up there all along. He's been really battling hard. What do you expect now? What's your strategy? What'd you tell him?
Well, if he follows Mike around for a little while and gets confident, we never know. Maybe he'll go to the front. And I know he'll get by Matasevic, but LaRocco's going to be real tough.
Why by Matasevic? Is he tiring?
Matasevic usually tires, and John stays strong right to the end. So
enough said, I guess. He figures Matasevic is going to fade, and then LaRocco's going to get him. Dowd, the question mark, where's he going to end up in the mix? It's a great three-rider race, and I hope that we're going to see a lot more of this during this national season. Sometimes outdoors they can get strung out, but this is terrific competition.
Well, Matasevic took a little look over his shoulder there just to see who, in fact, is in second place now, and it's LaRocco. He left him a little bit of room there.
Yeah, this time in the same place where he took Swink off the racetrack. Matasevic knows he better not do that with Mike LaRocco, and LaRocco is by with ease. You see how much quicker he is. He immediately opens up the gap. Question is whether Dowd can take the same advantage. It's the battle for national championship points at Gainesville. LaRocco leads it. We'll be back with the finish after this. Back at Gainesville, number 7, Mike LaRocco, the Hoosier on the Kawasaki, leads it over Jeff Matasevic, the Californian on the Yamaha, and John Dowd out of Massachusetts, also on a Yamaha. And here's Dowd stepping up to take his shot at Jeff Matasevic. He's been close. He's been putting the pressure on. Now he's alongside Matasevic, looking over, checking his progress, holds him at bay for the moment. The laps are winding down. A second-place finish for either of these guys is going to be a great accomplishment. There's the move by Dowd. Just shot through the inside and made it look easy.
Well, Dowd's mechanic predicted that Matasevic would tire, and now we're starting to see some of that. Dowd makes the pass. Matasevich is going to have company from Stanton here in a few minutes, so he's going to have to try and hang on to everything he can and try to salvage something out of this moto, because any minute he's going to have more company.
Third is number 21, Jeff Matasevich. Dowd, clearly quicker, opens up the advantage as soon as he completed that pass. He'll have designs on catching Mike LaRocco, although that'll be pretty tough to do. Meanwhile, Guy Cooper has retired. For a report, let's go to Art.
Guy, what seems to be the problem?
I broke a chain. I wasn't doing that good today, but I was having fun out there, and I was just wanting to try to break the top 10. I was close to it the first moto and was close to it in the middle of that second moto, so I don't know, maybe another day.
You're still encouraged, though.
Well, it's kind of a bummer, but I've still got a whole bunch more races this week, so there's always tomorrow.
Enthusiasm, always the Guy Cooper trademark. It is intact despite the DNF here today. And out front, Mike LaRocco, so serious about this business of motocross, stretches out his lead. He's now fully in command. No challenge from John Dowd, who's not able to match the pace of the Indiana Charger. Here's the race, and you called it, David. Stanton is all over Matasevich. He sees this as free points, doesn't he?
Well, he's got an opportunity to probably pass Matasevich and John Dowd and salvage something pretty good for the day. Second place wouldn't be bad. I don't think he has a chance to catch LaRocco.
He struggled in the first moto, but Jeff Stanton, the three-time champion who has similarly struggled in Supercross this year, is around Matasevich and now has a notion to try to get up there and grab the second spot. It'll take a blitz to do that, but Stanton is he's known for blitzes. In terms of physical conditioning, he's probably as strong as anybody out there. But you made the point that because the track is hard and slick, it's not as rough to ride. It's not as physically demanding as we might have expected.
Well, right there you see Jeff opting to just single that double jump right there, and he singled the other big one going up the hill a little ways back, and there's no way he can get up in battle with the leaders if he's not going to be double jumping these things.
Stanton, 25 years old, hasn't quite adjusted to the idea that people call him the old man of motocross now, and he's bailed off a couple of times pretty hard in Supercross this year, so perhaps he's thinking in terms of a long season. Let's not get busted up in the very first race of the year. LaRocco leads it. Dowd is second, and we'll be right back. We're back at Gatorback Cycle Park where the laps are winding down. You're watching the battle between Jeff Matasevich and Mike Kudrowski, and it's become the story of the final lap. Kudrowski, the reigning champion, trying to pick up one more position. This is the race for fourth. It's not what Kudrowski came here hoping for, but it's the best he'll be able to salvage. And I wonder if you think he's going to be able to pull off that pass.
Well, he should be fresh. He told us that after he fell down in the first moto, he was just going to cruise into third and save his energy. Obviously, Matasevich is tired. He's let 3 or 4 guys slip by him. We'll see if he can respond to this challenge here by Mike.
If you have energy left, now is the time to spend it. It is the last lap of the opening round of the National Championship season. Kudrowski is there, but a little out of shape as Matasevich holds on gamely. Give him this. He's ridden a courageous race here in the second moto. A couple of guys have zapped him in the late laps, but still, he's rising to the challenge of the national champion out there in the dust and the dirt. In fact, he's pulling away a little bit.
Well, he used to be teammates with just about everyone out there, and of course he used to be teammates with Kudrowski. There's no love lost there, and Kudrowski down on this big double jump.
Trouble for Mike Kudrowski. He didn't make it up and over. He had to circle back, regain his momentum, end of battle, make it 5th place at best for Kudrowski. Out front, his teammate will salvage something for the green guys as Mike LaRocco is en route to victory here in the second moto and the overall victory. Nobody else close to him. He's pulled away from John Dowd. He's on cruise control now.
Well, he's definitely made a statement here today, and he's going to win not only the overall, but he's going to put quite a few points between he and second place finisher.
There is the checkered flag. It's over, and LaRocco has won it at Gatorback Cycle Park. A good ride to second spot of the second moto for John Dowd. Here comes the congratulations for him. Final results show LaRocco the winner, John Dowd second, Stanton, Matasevich, and Kudrowski rounding out the top 5. Here's the rest of the top 10 as we hear from the winner.
Well, the comeback artist didn't have to come back after all. You're out in front where you want to be.
Yeah, it definitely helps to get out front in the series, and you know, you got the momentum going to the other races, so it helps, and I'm happy to be there.
What adjustments were made in that second moto now that helped get you out in front?
Actually, I think some of the other riders didn't ride as good as race they did the first race. You know, my bike worked really good the first moto and the second. We made some changes, and, you know, it helped out a little more. So I just went out, rode a smooth race, and things went my way.
And here's the payoff, a total of 47 points for LaRocco. If you assume Kedrowski and Stanton are his primary rivals, he's got a big lead, just as David Bailey pointed out. Here's the rest of your top 10 in the points as we hear from the race runner-up, John Dowd. Good ride today.
John Dowd, the privateer's hero right now. What a great run in that second moto, and a fine day overall.
Yeah, I went out in the first moto there. I think I was a little nervous, you know, being the first race and all, and you know, I got like a little pumped up, a little tight, and I don't know, everything like flowed nice in the second moto, so that's how I made it this far.
And so the champagne corks pop for the top 3, one of 12 races that will decide the national championship. What did we learn about the big picture here today?
Well, LaRocco's been the only one able to match McGrath's speed indoors so far this year, and he had a little bit more time to work with those bad starts he gets out here at Gainesville. The surprise would be John Dowd, a privateer. He's got to be happy with that performance. The disappointment has to be in the Honda camp. What's wrong with McGrath and Stanton?
We'll find out as the series moves on to Sacramento, California. I'm Dave Despain for David Bailey and Art Ekman. We'll see you then.